He can either marry me or marry his mom.
Girl, if you don't dump this man and leave.
Mothers are forever, wives are not. And then it just kind of dives off a cliff and gets worse. Hey guys, I'm V and welcome to today's story time. Now, I hope you're hungry because today we have a full course of karma, maybe a sprinkling of revenge, and more dramatic Reddit stories in store. But don't worry, for dessert, we have a bunch of updates to the stories too. So I won't leave you guys hanging. There are no cliffhangers to the stories, I think, but we'll see. Let's get into today's first story. First story is from the subreddit, Am I Overreacting? Am I overreacting? My fiance asked me to not wear white at our wedding. Have you ever seen I Love a Mama's Boy? Well, that's my life basically. I, 27-year-old female, have been with my fiance, John, 28-year-old female, since high school. We dated and broke up because his mother, Debbie, 53 years old female, convinced him we were too young to be in love. We broke up and went to college. During my sophomore year, we started talking on socials again. He apologized and said he missed me. We got back together. Cue the waterworks. Debbie literally cried the first time she saw that we were back together and told John that I have done witchcraft on him. I've always respected Debbie out of respect for my mother and upbringing. I was not raised to go back and forth with my elders, but she definitely abuses that. Since John and I decided to get back together, she has tried to hook him up with women from her church, her job, and even asked her friends for their daughters to give it a shot. John denies all of them, and Debbie says that I'm controlling. John has told her to stop, but not in a way that I feel she gets the point. I'm just going to quickly pause here and say, Debbie's busy. She's working her network. She's the poster child for how to network well. Now, I remember in college, a lot of professors would say, don't forget, networking is a valuable skill. And I think Debbie, if networking was a course, Debbie would probably get A+ for it because she's working her church, her job, probably neighbors, all her friends. I'm mildly impressed and horrified for you, OP. But let's see. OP says, anyway, 3 months ago, John proposed. Deb didn't come to the engagement party. Cool. She didn't come to the family dinner we had so that both sides could meet. Cool. John's dad came and apologized for his ex's behavior. He left her when John graduated high school. I told him, don't worry about it. The problems really began when John decided to confront his mother about how she's behaving towards her whole engagement. This turned on the light bulb in his brain, as he's always tried to ignore it and told me to ignore her. She gave him a sob story about how she got pregnant with him before marriage and never really got to have a wedding, and this is triggering her. She had a shotgun wedding at the courthouse. He asked her what she needed to feel comfortable, and she responded that if she wore white and I wore a soft pink or lavender, she would feel comfortable. My fiance, for some reason, thought this was a fair compromise. He also said, not asked, that his mom could walk me down the aisle so that she can get her moment in her dress. I told him absolutely not, and we got into an argument about it. I told him that it's insane that he would argue with me to defend his mom's honor, but wouldn't do the same the other way around. He accused me of being petty and selfish. It was bad. We both have agreed to cool off, but by how heated it got, I could tell we both almost agreed to call it off. Now we're in a weird space and I love John, but now see how much he lets her impact her life. I just imagine her sitting at home with this evil grin, knowing she's ruining my relationship with John and he's just putty in her hands. I think I should call off the wedding. Am I overreacting or is it just a color? Alrighty, so that was our first story so far. But let me tell you guys, that was just the appetizer because we do have updates to the story coming up. And if you enjoyed this, don't forget to hit like on this episode and subscribe to the channel, guys. It really helps a lot. And if you're listening to me on Spotify, don't forget to rate this one 5 stars. All right, let's get back into the story. Once in a while, I feel like I know where a story is going and I see where, like, how bad it can get. And then it just kind of dives off a cliff and gets worse. This is one of those stories. Where to begin? When OP's talking about how she's imagining potential mother-in-law here, Debbie. That's such an evil name for her mom-in-law. I don't know why. Debbie, evil Debbie. She's just imagining Debbie at home with this evil grin. I totally imagine like her going like, I'm going to destroy the relationship. This is so easy. I'm going to be the one wearing white. I'm going to be walking down the bride wearing white. Wait. Isn't that crazy though? Because before we even dive into the craziness that led Debbie up to this request that has turned into a tell and not an ask. So she wants to wear white. She thinks she's even picked out a color for the bride. So she's going to wear white. OP, the bride, will wear lavender or pink. And she's going to walk the bride down the aisle towards the sun. Is that not going to look weird? Uh, it's giving very cringy. Like, okay, I'm just going to ask the question that everyone probably has in their mind right now. Does Debbie want to marry her son? Does mom want to marry her son? Is this where we're going to? Because it's starting to feel like she wants to have not just her moment, but a redo of her wedding, except the groom is her son now. Ugh.
I don't think she actually wants to marry
Are
her
you sure
son.
about that?
Yeah, I think it seems like she's trying to kind of relive the moment she never had
By
and
wearing white?
and basically make her the center of attention during that wedding in some ways.
Ugh. I agree with you, but I just somehow it just feels like Debbie has this grip on her son. And I think we've seen it sometimes in the movies. It's very theatrical, like, oh, no one's good enough for my son. She's definitely that type of person. My problem is who cries? Like, I understand if you don't like your son or daughter's partner, right? But who legit cries when their son brings home a girlfriend? Isn't it usually, oh, I'm so happy for you because you found a partner. You found someone who's going to be your, assumably, could be lifelong partner, someone who's going to care for you. But no, she's crying. She's upset. I'm kind of pissed at your fiance, potentially ex fiance, Ophi, because he's had so long to back you up. I know that he kind of says no to the potential girlfriends that his mom keeps bringing him, but I don't think that's enough. Where's the hard stance? Where's the mom, you need to stop this? Like, cut it out. Where's that? And I can't believe that he has this conversation with his mom and his brilliant idea is to say, you know what? This is a compromise. Mom gets the white dress. Mom gets to walk with the bride down the aisle. Or should we say the bride gets to walk with mom get down her aisle at that point. What was the compromise? That she allows the marriage to happen? I thought compromises are where both sides give a little bit. It just seems like mom is taking, but I don't see any sort of real giving here. Am I wrong? What was the compromise? So
That
mom's
she shows up at the wedding that she, I think, clearly kind of disapproves of, from what it seems.
she doesn't have to show up. I think the marriage would be fine without her showing up. Maybe
Yeah.
it might even be better without her showing up.
Yeah,
To
if
be honest.
anything, it seems that it's OP's, I guess, fiance's mom's disapproval towards the wedding. It's kind of, I would take it somewhat disrespectfully for what she's
Yeah.
trying to do, because that you would think that's OP's basically moment, right, in the wedding. Then the mom, I guess OP's fiance's mom, is going to be wearing white at that particular moment,
And then she specifically doesn't want the bride to wear white.
right?
That is so weird to me.
I think it's just one of her plays to try to break up the relationship, and I guess unfortunately, or maybe fortunately, it's working.
I think you're right. I mean, it just seems like no matter what you do in this situation, mom in law's winning. I hate to call it a contest, but she's one upping you really badly, OP. Like, she has successfully sabotaged your relationship. Okay, I'm just going to say it. I think breaking up is the way to go. This sounds extreme, but I think when you're with someone for a long time, you kind of inevitably, you're not only marrying them, you're marrying the people around them, their loved ones, their family, their closest people in their circle. Do you really, really picture a life long term with your husband and Debbie? Oh, I just imagine, oh my gosh, imagine they take Christmas photos or family photos, or even at the wedding when they're taking photos, it's supposed to be just the couple, or like first look when the groom sees the bride for the first time, the bride sees the groom for the first time, and then you see Debbie in the back of the photo. I feel like she's gonna pop in and say, oh, I'm here too, and then pose for a photo. Oof. Call off the wedding. Wedding's done. I'm sorry. It's just John doesn't seem like he has that much of a backbone. And if this is his way of compromising, you're better off walking out the door. Now, let's see what some of the comments say. First comment from Ducky's mama. This isn't about a dress color. It's about control and possibly a dash of humiliation. Do you really want to put down roots, start a family with a man willing to bend backwards for his mommy to the point of telling his bride she can't wear white, but his mom gets the glory? I shudder to think what having kids with this man would look like. Ooh. I just, ooh. Now, OP does respond. OP says, honestly, I don't. I spoke to his dad to see if he could help John see my side. He said he will talk to him. Future father in law was pissed. Okay, well, at least someone has some sense. Okay, I feel like this was a really mean thought I had. But when OP was telling the story, and she basically clarified, oh, like I get along well with father in law. We talked. And she kind of mentioned there that, oh, father in law divorce, mom-in-law, like way back when in high school, my first thought was, huh, not surprised. I'm not surprised. The man saw a way out and he ran. I just, oh, I just have such a bitter aftertaste from this. This is so gross. Another comment from Secret Number, quote, so she can get her moment. Effing weird. I agree. Yeah, I think that's what it boils down to. Mom wants to be a bride at her son's wedding. It's
Like,
weird.
I mean, I think that's maybe part of it, but I think the true reasoning behind it is the disrespect and
Yeah, I agree with you.
one final jab, or in this case, I think it's like the last Hail Mary from the future mother-in-law, and it worked. I think for the benefit of the OP, to be honest.
I agree. But you know what? I think even if OP somehow powers through this marriage, if she wants to, which I don't recommend OP, I think mom's not going to stop. I think Debbie's going to have her moment. She's going to keep on trying. She's going to keep on making these jabs. She's going to keep on trying something. She's always got something cooking. She feels like one of those evil villains in a storyline where they keep coming back. Team Rocket keeps on coming back. So there is an update to this. Update. Hey everyone, not sure if this is the update everyone wanted, but this is what happened since my last post. 1, I laid out a couple of talking points that I couldn't articulate over the rage. Very valid. 2, I met up with John after work at home. I was at the gym letting off steam. 3, we spoke on everything and made plans to speak to his mother. John came home remorseful. He told me he was anxious about it and brought it up to a coworker friend about how I don't want to compromise. Apparently his friend, God bless his soul, went off on him about him being cringy. This angered me. So when I say it, it's a problem. But another man tells you and now you see the other side. I brought up my talking points. Oh, I feel like I'm getting secondhand rage coursing through my soul. That annoys me. So you're telling me your fiance is telling you there's a problem with how the wedding is going to go, with the planning, with the relationship with your mom, and you don't believe her. Basically, you don't take her seriously. But a random coworker, another dude tells you and all of a sudden, "Oh, I see the light. I see what the problem is now. I see it." I have anger in my soul. Now, let's see OP's talking points. OP says, I brought up my talking points. Him being easily manipulated. This was also proved when I said he would listen to whatever another man said before his partner. Even though his friend agreed with me, it hurt that he didn't listen to me. Very valid. His mom going out of her way to break us up with a silly request. He was way more open to this theory now, knowing how cringe he looks, even telling this situation to someone else. I compared it to a father removing a bride's wedding garter. He got the point. Oh, that's a good example. I see it, OP. Him agreeing to his mom's crazy request before even talking to me. He claimed he didn't, that he told her he'll see how I feel about it and just brought it up to me. I asked why he didn't see that his mother walking down the aisle on his wedding day was extremely creepy. He said it's just a dress in his eyes. He just didn't want his mom to miss the wedding. I told him there will be no wedding if he doesn't straighten up. He said he understood. Me showing him how blatantly obvious it was that she hates me. She didn't even ask to wear white alongside me, which is still weird, but that I don't wear white at all, as if I'm some impure whore. Thanks, Reddit, because I wasn't even thinking of that one. He said he didn't see it that way. He just knew she hadn't been showing up because she said seeing me in white hurts her. So I said, do you not hear your own mom saying she wants to be the bride herself? That she can't stand it being me? It finally looked like a ding went off in his head. There was so much to unpack. Wait, can we hold on a second? I didn't know that's a thing. So if the bride doesn't wear white, there's some connotation that she's impure or that she's a what now? I was like, I thought that was just a fashion choice. Like if a bride wants to wear, I've seen brides wear black or rainbow color or, some other stylistic choice of their opinion. I was not aware there was some sort of like connotation around, oh, if a bride doesn't wear white on her wedding day, it means something. Do you guys know what OP is talking about? This is news to me, which is funny because originally I was also considering wearing pink for my wedding dress. So now I'm confused because now I guess there was some sort of background, maybe more old school thinking behind not wearing white on the wedding day. The one quote that's like a red flag for me is that apparently mother in law, Debbie over here, mother in law said that seeing the bride in white hurts her. You can't tell me that the mom doesn't want to just be the bride at this point. I just have no words. OP, divorce. Wait, no, you're not even together yet. Thank goodness. Wait, break up. Please break up. I need this is like the beginning of a tragedy, like a horrific tragedy. Please, please break up. This is a man child. You're not marrying a groom or a man. This is a man child. OP continues, me asking him what role would she play in our wedding? Childbirth, Mother's Day, and everything to come. Would I always come second place? He assured me I wouldn't, and he realizes how bad he effed up. He was just trying to keep the peace. I asked by always making her happy and making me miserable. I refused to live my life this way. He agreed and said he was sorry and that he wouldn't want me to be miserable. We have no children yet, but we create a plan on how to deal with any big milestone. She won't be there for anything unless I'm comfortable with it, and I won't be unless she does at 180. I asked, what did his mom say to change his mind? And you all guessed it. She cried. She cried about how her baby was getting taken away from her, how she never got her wedding, how his dad left her, and she was alone and had no one else, that she felt sick and just wanted to experience a real wedding before she dies. She's perfectly healthy unless there's something she hasn't told us. I just told him that if that was enough to manipulate him, what's to say he won't turn on me again? He said his friend and dad talked sense into him about how he was going to lose me. I told him today was the last straw for me. He had to do 4 things to keep me engaged to him, if he even cared to. 1, go low contact with his mom and do not let her make any decisions on our wedding, which will be postponed another year to see if he actually sticks to his word. 2, he has to go to counseling, individually and couples counseling. 3, he has to speak to his mom with me present about her behavior towards me because every time he goes by himself, he comes back with a reason why he left it alone. 4, he must create strong boundaries and learn to uphold them. He agreed. Then came the bad part. I was so hopeful for you. I was so hopeful. Okay. As I'm reading this, I'm going, yes, girl, you tell him. You tell him what's on your mind. You lay down the law. And then the minute you ended it with, yeah, but every single time he goes and talks to his mom alone, he just comes back and goes, never mind. I didn't say anything that I was supposed to. Girl.
I had no hope.
Really?
Yeah.
I have this tiny strand of hope. And then the minute OP went, then came the bad part. I'm just like, dun, dun. OP says, I showed him the post. I felt so bad as he read everyone rip him into shreds in the comments. I know, he needed that. I could see how uncomfortable he was as he read how much of a mama's boy he was and the other things about his mom. He was hurt that I agreed that I should leave in some comments. He read for a few months until he saw someone call him a spineless see you next Tuesday. Oh, that's clever. That's clever. Do you get it?
Of course.
Really?
Yeah.
It took me a solid second. Oh my gosh, you got it so fast. I like that. I'm going to use that. See you next Tuesday. That's clever. And then gave my phone back. He said it was really harsh, but I had to show him how crazy the situation sounded, even if it was just to keep the peace on a surface level. Him reading the post was icing on the cake. He said he saw everyone telling me to leave, and his heart physically started hurting, knowing that he deserved it. For me, this is like the happy ending when the character finally sees the light. I'm like, yes, this is what your wife or soon to be wife or fiance has been trying to tell you. OP says, we called his dad, who I'm no longer calling future father-in-law because I will call this wedding off tomorrow if he doesn't have my back when we speak to his mom. John's dad, Dan, who I'll name since he's a big part of this update, Dan also read John the riot act again. He was relieved John decided to get his act together. We agreed to go to Deb's house tomorrow with Dan and John's aunt. My dad is tagging along. John has said he will tell his mother that she can't, under any circumstances, make our wedding about her. He also said if she does cry or try to guilt trip him, he will tell her he's going no contact. I feel terrible as getting a man to stop talking to his mom isn't something I ever thought I even wanted. I doubt Debbie will come around, especially not tomorrow, with all of us against her. I don't know if John will backtrack as soon as he gets there. I have explained that if he doesn't grow a spine, I'm leaving. He can either marry me or marry his mom. But that's my ultimatum. He said he chooses me. We'll see, I guess. This all should make me happy, but I still feel icky. I'll update tomorrow after we all talk to Debbie. I feel like we're here for a saga. Like, I'm just on the edge of my seat wondering if this conversation with Debbie is actually going to pan out. Realistically, I don't think Debbie's going to take this very well. But I will be pleasantly surprised if fiance, well, currently probational still fiance, does what he's agreed to. I mean, I feel like they're showing up to Debbie's house full Avengers mode. I mean, they got OP's dad, OP's going, fiance's dad, fiance's aunt. Like, I feel like they're the Avengers crew coming to lay down the law. But it does make you question if it takes that many people to resolve this whole thing with mother-in-law. Does the relationship really stand a chance? You know what I mean? Like, if another fight happens in the future, what are you going to call everyone to solve a relationship problem? Ugh, I don't know. So let's see a few of the comments. First comment: dang, I'm here early. Glad you set boundaries and don't feel bad about having him stop talking to his mother. His mom is an adult. She knows what she did in the past and what she's currently doing, and she does not care. That in itself speaks volumes on her character. It is not someone who genuinely has her son's best interest in mind. It will always be for her own benefit. I would agree with that. I think that comment is speaking to the choir at this point. OP response: thank you. I feel really bad about this, but this is my first time having to really put my foot down, and I think even he's shocked seeing it. I usually just let her talk and get her way because she's his mom. Oof. I'm glad the wedding's postponed for now, but I'm a little bit nervous that even after, say John does do what he's expected to do, that it won't pan out.
Is there an update about what happens?
I'm glad you asked. We do. We have a final update to the saga. Hey everyone, I'm back with the last update. This is a bit long, so buckle up. Some people reached out to disrespect me. I honestly don't care if you don't believe my story or find me annoying, but messaging me, calling me names, being disrespectful, or saying that I shouldn't wear white to my own wedding is classless. I won't respond. I genuinely hope you all get the help you need or whatever trauma makes you feel that much of an angry person. Did Debbie see your post? I can't imagine any sane person messaging OP and saying, how dare you? How could you want to wear white to your own wedding? What? Who does that? Now, OP continues, to all the people who have reached out with positive vibes and advice, thank you so much, cutie patooties. Anyways, John and I met up after work and we headed to pick up Dan. John's aunt couldn't make it. My dad was meeting us there. I had really bad anxiety. I told Dan and Dad they should give us a few before knocking so she doesn't feel ambushed. They agreed. Wait. But isn't it even worse? Say Debbie opens the door, she sees just OP and the son, and then 2 minutes later, the dad shows up out of the bushes and like the aunt shows up or like whoever shows up. Is that worse? I would honestly feel like that's a genuine ambush. I'd rather just see everyone in one go, but okay, OP. Here's the part everyone was waiting for. We get to Debbie's. My heart feels like I'm going up the world's tallest roller coaster slowly. John is quiet. We get there and he gives her a firm but respectful, "Hey, Mom." We sit down and John tells her we came to talk to her. She asked, "What's wrong?" John got right into it. He bluntly said to her that her actions towards me for years have been petty. Her not showing up for any of our wedding events was unacceptable to him. He flat out asked her why does she have a problem with me. I genuinely thought he was going to start with a dress situation. He went for the root of it all. Debbie acted like she had no idea what he was talking about. She has actively tried to get him to cheat, leave me for other women, but in that moment was shocked and doesn't know where this was coming from. She said she has no problems with me and loves me like a daughter. She looked at me like she expected me to talk, but like I said to you all I wanted to see was what John had to say. He asked her to be honest and named all the times he's recalled that she insulted me to my face and behind my back. He mentioned she also tells him that he could do better every time I'm not around. This was news to me, but am I shocked? No.
Girl, if you don't dump this man and leave, what does it take? Uh, so you're telling me all this time, these are all the things that Deb has been saying to your face? I could only imagine the list of horrible things she's been saying about you to other people behind your back. Oh, I would be so mad. First off, if my parents said anything like that about my fiance behind his back, I would stop them. I'd be like, all right, I'm going to need you to stop right there. First off, you will not be that disrespectful. You cannot possibly say that. That is my partner. And in the reverse, I would expect the same courtesy. Would you defend me?
Absolutely.
How hard?
What do you mean, how hard?
Even if it was even if it was like, say, usually it's like elder senior people in the family, right? People you generally respect or people you care about. Would you still put them in their place if it came from someone like that?
If they're being disrespectful, then yes.
This is so bad. Like, I just feel like OP just thought that fiance was going to talk about the dress thing, but instead, I feel like John has now taken the cap off of like everything he's balled up, and now he's just spilling all the secrets. I love how OP's like just sitting there waiting for him to talk about the one thing, and then he's just talking, and she's just like, "Well, that's news to me. I didn't know that she was also saying that, but okay, okay." OP says, Deb was livid. She genuinely couldn't believe he outed her like that. She starts going off on him, calling him disrespectful and saying he was disrespecting his own mother for an outsider. She kept saying, I know she made you do this. I know she's the one making you disrespect me like this. John was trying to reason with her and get her to calm down. I text Dan and my dad to come in. Once they were inside, Deb became a different person. She was startled as she wasn't expecting them, and then all the things she was just saying went out the window. She turned to Dan, my dad, and said John walked in and just started yelling at her because of me. My dad looked at me, and I shook my head, no. Once Dan and Dad got in, everything was calmer for a little while. She went back to denying she didn't like me. They all told her that it was obvious, that the dress request was shameful of her. She immediately replied, it's shameful that I won't let her son spend time with her. John said that's not true. At this point, I'm burning inside. I wanted to correct all of her inaccuracies, but I stood quiet. John asked her, what's the real issue with me? Deb starts saying how she knew I was going to be an issue since we were in high school. She said that once John got with me, his grades started dropping, which isn't true. That he stopped making time for family, also not true. That he once didn't show up to celebrate Mother's Day with her a few times because of my birthday. My birthday's in April. Mother's Day is in May. That once we got back together, he forgot about her completely because I made him abandon her. He goes to her house minimum 3 times a week. She said the fact that we had the engagement party without checking how she felt about it was wrong and all the evidence she needed to see what kind of woman I am. I know some people are close with their moms and their family, but who genuinely hangs out with their mom like more than 3 times a week? Is that not excessive? Like, don't you have like, I don't know, chores, errands, work? Like, I'm kind of impressed that OP, your fiance had time to schedule all of that. Now, OP says, my dad pointed out that she didn't pay for the engagement dinner to have any input on it. Dan asked her what she was thinking, asking to wear white at our wedding, why she's so hungry for attention. Her face got red and she went off. She told Dan that maybe if he would have properly married her and gave her the real wedding, she wouldn't feel left out. Dan straight up called BS and said that she didn't want to have a real wedding even though he tried to convince her. The reason being that her mother told her pregnant brides are tacky. She started crying. I honestly felt bad for Debbie here. Mothers, be nice to your daughters or you'll create Debbies. Oh my God. This is a whole mess. I feel like we signed up for the drama between fiance and Opie, and now like everything is being thrown out. But I will say kudos to father-in-law because I think Dan, the father-in-law, has honestly bigger balls than his son. She's calling her straight for her BS. He's like, no, this is all your fault. Because if you married me, and he's like, dude, you didn't even want a wedding. Don't lie. I'm kind of liking Dan, the dad-in-law, because he's clocking her for her BS. Opie says, my dad got everyone to calm down. John finally spoke again and told his mother that he can't keep defending her when she won't even try to respect me. That for his sanity and our relationship, he's going low contact. Deb kept crying and said that John can't leave her for dead. She's the only mother he'll ever have. Mothers are forever. Wives are not. I'm not even his wife yet, and I'm already tearing apart the family. Now, you can't tell me that mom didn't want to be bride. I mean, at this point, she wants to be wife. You know what it sounds like? I'll give her this. It sounds like one of those slogans that people put on like those little like photo frames in their house. Like what is it? Like,
peace, love, happiness. Instead, it's mothers are forever, wives are not. Okay. He kept going. He told her that we are going to get married. If she can't respect me or stop crossing boundaries, she'll get cut off completely. That his visits are dropping to 1 every 2 weeks and that she needs to call us. She started going off. She knew it. I'm doing something to him. What did I do to her son? I'm a manipulator and a problem. She told my dad he raised a demon. My dad shot back at her to watch her mouth. John kept shouting, Mom, stop, but she kept screaming and then she started hyperventilating. Whoever called it, you might be able to see the future. She was gripping John's arms, saying she can't breathe. This was when I said to myself, oh no, he's gonna flip flop. He looked at me and I know he knew what I was thinking. John got her a cup of water, then asked his dad if he could make sure his mom was okay and asked my dad to take Dan home. Dan and dad agreed, and his mom started crying louder. She literally screamed, I can't breathe, as we walked out so he could hear her. I felt effing terrible, and I finally spoke. I told John, I'm sorry, and I understand if he felt bad. He said he knew she was faking it, but his instincts wanted to run over and make sure she was okay. I asked, Are you? He said no, but he looked really sad about it. My dad walked out behind us. My dad has never seen this side of Deb. Neither have I. She's always been catty or shady towards me, but this was insane. My dad straight up told John that his mom needed help with her mental health. John said he's going to talk to his aunt about getting her help. We went home and John cried. He said he cried because he watched his mom villainize him and tell others that he just walked in and verbally abused her. He said it reminded him of the times he would fight with his dad because his mom would say that Dan would just come home from work and yell at her for no reason. I guess it was deja vu for him. He was silent after she said that, so I do believe it struck a nerve with him. He decided to go no contact for now. I did ask him if he was okay with me posting this part, and he said yes. Before we went to Deb's house, I called a couple of counselors in our area to check availability, and our first couples therapy session is next month. It's a little while away. He called his provider today to check for a therapist within his insurance and got an appointment for himself for the 23rd. The ball is rolling, and John seems like he's on the same page as me. I know this is killing him, though. Dan called us and let us know he got Deb to calm down. He said he spoke to her as best as he could about her harming her own relationship with John, but she didn't want to hear it. Thank you, Reddit. I really didn't expect this to blow up like this. The advice and well wishes I got from this is so overwhelming in a great way. While I should be happy, something about it just makes me feel down. I hope that Debbie gets better and we can one day have her in our lives. Something about that comment about her mother made me hurt for little Debbie. Hopefully one day I'll get to hear her stories. Now I'm going back to my regular life and hopefully I won't ever have a dramatic update for you guys ever again. Whew. I feel like we just went from like a season 1 straight to a season 3 of like a saga. Oh my gosh. Well, was it what you expected?
I don't know. A little bit surprised that they're still trying to work it out. I guess
surprised too.
I'm a bit skeptical, but maybe slightly positively surprised about OP's fiance.
Yeah. I have to say, I was not Team John. I thought John was gonna fold like a cheap chair. I just thought he was gonna see the waterworks and go immediately, no, Mom, you're okay. It's fine. Okay. You can wear white. You can do whatever you want. It's fine. Whatever you say. The fact that she started activating the waterworks and when that didn't happen, the whole, I can't breathe, John, I can't breathe. Like, that is so crazy. You know what's sad though? I kind of feel bad for OP still because as hopeful as I am, because I really do hope that OP is able to work it out with John, like, and that John, is able to change and this is a permanent change as part of their lives. I'm skeptical because what took it to get this far was her giving him the ultimatum, was her saying, I'm going to walk if you cannot build a healthy relationship and set boundaries with your mom. That is so crazy to me that that's what it took. And then it also took both their dads getting involved. That's why I'm still a little bit skeptical on how well it's going to work out. I do want it to work for you though, OP. We got a top comment here. For the third thread in a row, I'm going to say it. This is what emotional incest looks like, folks. Good on you, OP, and good for John for finally sticking up for you, himself, and everyone else his mother has gaslit and manipulated. Yeah, I echo that sentiment. At the end of this one, I am hopeful but skeptical. And OP, I think it goes without saying, you definitely did not overreact.
I feel like OP, you held it in for so long that everything just kind of word vomited out. So, yeah, skeptical, but hopeful. That's my verdict for this. What do you guys think? Let me know in the comments. I feel like this was a wild one for us to start with. All right, our second story is a little bit of a chaotic one. It is our wild pick. And if you guys don't know what that is basically a story that I picked because it stood out. It was a little kooky, a little chaotic, and I thought it would be a fun read for you guys. This one's from the subreddit AITH. Am I the a-hole for refusing to share my dinner with 2 children? Why do I feel like this is going to end up being a story where I'm going to side with OP because this is my food? Back off, children, or something. My female 29 years old boyfriend, Albert, male 35 years old, and I had a great relationship until his family moved closer to us. I haven't seen a more toxic or entangled family connection. It seems like every ex and their mother is an enemy. Every ex boss had it out for them. Every friend should help out more and more. Everyone should take their verbal abuse. After a few run ins, I cut mother in law off. Ooh, I'm getting the vibe that this is one of those people. The family's one of those people. You know, where they always complain. There are certain people that you meet where they always complain that everybody's out to get them. Like there's always something wrong with everybody. But the only common link in any of these situations is that it's them. They are the problem. They just don't see it. But let's see. Opie says his sister, female, 37 years old, is in the habit of showing up at dinner time. She's got it right. Dinner time is the best time to show up. She has 2 kids, 7-year-old female and 9-year-old male, that she always brings along. I don't mind sharing a meal, but I hated her dropping by without a warning. Albert never took action, and this created problems. Sister-in-law has an unbearable parenting style. They're good kids, but she overindulges them and lets too many things slide as they're just kids. So they interject in adult conversations, have crying fits when told no, and are prone to grabbing, touching, taking objects without permission. So they took things around the house, like cupboard items, small sculptures, my stash of hotel toiletries, my hair extensions, to play with, and had me going crazy trying to find them later. Fast forward, and her son, who has anxiety, had a small crisis from opening our kitchen drawer and grabbing some poppets or party snaps. Some fell and popped real loud, and he cried because he was embarrassed. I did not offer comfort because that would be indulging his Snoopy behavior. So I stayed quiet and asked Albert to talk to his sister, which I'm sure he didn't. I'm not happy in my relationship. I don't have privacy. His sister keeps showing up despite being told by myself that she can't keep showing up uninvited. I'm sick of having to hide things that I think her kids could get their hands on. I recently put a lock on my home office door because I suspect that sister-in-law has been using my copy machine while I'm out. I work both at home and at 2 client sites and have been getting home after 8 p.m. I'm sick of being tense and dreading her visits because he lets her eat through her groceries like she has a right to do it. He's called me selfish and greedy. I thought he would be more considerate now that they gave him less hours at work and his pay cut has caused me to pay for most of our bills. Sister-in-law is a nail technician and a hairstylist. She was also a teacher at a beauty academy until she had her kids. Now she won't do anything but badmouth her ex and complain about how hard life is. She has a place to live, with access to food and her own car. I'm thinking that she may be doing this on purpose. Last Friday, Albert went bowling with friends. I told him that I wanted a very quiet evening and didn't want to be bothered. I got home at around 7 p.m. and sat down to eat my seafood boil. I love that. Oh, seafood boil. So good. Sister-in-law showed up asking for her daughter's backpack that she left behind. I was annoyed. I tried to rush to get it, but her son saw the crab legs and started insisting. I said, I was sorry, but that's my dinner. So he starts crying, stomping, and repeatedly asking his mom for my food. I said I was sorry and quickly showed them out. To my aggravation, they didn't leave immediately. He cried outside for about 5 minutes while sister-in-law sat inside her car trying to convince him to get in. I pulled down the shutters and tried to ignore them. When Albert got back, his face had a bitter expression. He said that he was extremely disgusted about the way that I treated his family. He has stopped talking to me. It's been a few days and I'm still getting the silent treatment. I've cried a few times, especially because he's been texting me despite us being physically next to each other. That's just so petty. I just imagine this couple in bed. They're sitting right next to each other. And then you just see her husband just texting her angrily on his phone, like tap, 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 tap. And meanwhile, she's next to him like, babe, I'm right next to you. Let's just have this conversation. Don't angry text me right next to me.
Opie says, sister-in-law showed up yesterday, but he wasn't home yet, so I didn't let her in. I'm angry and defeated, and I'm coming to the conclusion that I need to end the relationship because he texted me that I need to apologize to sister-in-law. I didn't want things to end between us, but I feel like they're trying to walk all over me. This is so surreal. We had planned on a cozy Xmas together months ago when things were good. I'm not trying to ruin his life. Right now, his finances are not great, and my salary makes a huge difference. I just don't want to be made to feel like his family can get away with what they're doing, and I hold resentment. I texted him about how I feel and how incredibly selfish he is to be comfortable giving in to his sister with what my hard work can buy, but can't think to respect my boundaries. Am I the a-hole if I leave? I feel like somehow I'm the failure for not being willing to fight for our relationship.
No, please leave. I got to rename this episode, guys. Maybe the topic should really have been run as fast as you can. You're telling me this woman shows up at your house unannounced randomly multiple times a week. She helps herself to your food, to your printer. We don't even know what else she's done in your home when you're not there. And clearly your husband does not have your back. My biggest thing with relationships is it's not that I think couples should always agree, but at least I hate to put it this way, but when confronting external threats, or should I say, when talking to anyone, like when dealing with each other's families, when there's conflict, you should have a united front. Am I wrong? Like, why does husband not have your back? Why are you with this man? I'm so genuinely confused. Wait, I'm sorry. Opie did not mention whether or not they're married. So I'm just going to assume partner. Why does partner not have your back? What is going on there? Like, am I missing something? Do people just let their families walk all over them like this? This is stressful. I'm getting secondhand stress. Oh my gosh. If you guys see flickering, I'm not possessed. There's no spirits in the home. Mango's, my cat, is the only spirit. She might be playing with the lights here. But, so we do have an update. But before we get to an update, I will say, Opie, you're definitely not the a-hole. I think you are letting them walk all over you. You're giving in way too much. You need to stand your ground, set the sister-in-law straight, change the lock on your front doors, because it seems like sister-in-law's just kind of coming in and out of your home as she pleases. I hate to say it, you should probably break up with your boyfriend. He is not for you, girl. He doesn't have your back. He doesn't seem to be respecting you even. He doesn't even listen to your side of the story. The fact that sister-in-law can go crying, boo-hoo, boo-hoo, whatever, and then he just shows up and goes, you have to apologize now. Wait, and also I'm confused. What exactly do you have to apologize for? So the timeline is you went home, you were trying to eat a nice seafood boil, trying to help yourself to some delicious dinner, and then sister-in-law just shows up. And also, I have a feeling, okay, is this crazy? I think sister-in-law is like staking out your door. Because how does she know to show up exactly when you have piping hot dinner all the freaking time and bring the 2 kids in tow? Either she's got an amazing nose and she can just smell it through the neighborhood or something, or I just imagine her like hiding in her car, like waiting for you to get home and then timing it like, okay, it's been 30 minutes. She's probably has dinner cooking right now. All right, let's go. Really? And the other questions, okay, the kids are like young, right? I mean, it's rare. Like the kids are 7 and 9 years old. You're telling me little 9-year-old little boy is going to show up at his aunt's place and then sees that she has crab legs and is going to go ballistic over crab legs? Do 9-year-old boys love crab legs that much? I am thinking, my theory is that sister-in-law is the one that actually likes it and wants it. And she's the one that keeps using her kids to be like, oh, that looks really good. Tell auntie that you want it. Because it looks better from a kid when a kid wants food rather than a grown adult woman showing up unsolicited demanding your dinner, right? That's my theory. Do you think it holds any water?
It could. I wouldn't be surprised.
I have to say, I'm not gonna lie. If my sister lived next door and she had piping seafood boil out, crab legs, I'm not gonna lie. I might be tempted to knock and just be, hey sis, I saw you walk into the house with a whole bag of crab legs. You want to share? I would be tempted.
Shameless.
I would be tempted. Hey, but I wouldn't do it every night, okay? I might do it once in a while. I would never do that to my sister every single night. Unless she has, seafood boil every night. I mean, maybe we can work out a routine. It could be a ritual between us. Now, let's see a few comments before I get to the update. First comment, not they all. I hate sharing my food when I'm already exhausted, and now it comes with a temper tantrum from unwelcome people. Leave. Another comment, not they all, but you better lock down your contraceptives while you plan your exit from this dumpster fire of a relationship. Girl, why are you with this man? He prioritizes his family more than you and puts you down in your own house? Opie says, I hadn't thought about the possibility of baby trapping. Thanks. Ooh, that's kind of scary. That's scary. I feel so bad, OP. Like, if that's even a concern, that you're worried about getting baby trapped, no, leave. Leave, please. If it's your own home, kick him out. Even better. Now, there's an update. Let's see. OP says, update. First of all, I want to say thank you to everyone who took the time to send advice. I can't answer all the replies, but I've done my best to read as many as possible. There were solutions I hadn't even thought of. My best friend was super helpful. She dropped everything to help me make phone calls, get things moving, packing, scouting everywhere, just in case something could be left behind. I'm so grateful for her presence in my life. Not only did she get involved, she helped me not panic. We were able to remove everything inside my home office without too much trouble because everything had already been packed and the door was locked, so he had no way of knowing. We made it easier on the movers by confining as much of my other stuff to an area. I took only what I owned. When I moved in with him, he had some furniture that he put inside the garage because he liked mine better. He sold it when he needed the money, but that doesn't mean that he won't have anything to sit on. Aww. I was hoping, like, I'm just picturing OP shuffling with her friend to get everything out during the day when the boyfriend isn't home. And that when boyfriend turns the key, walks into his home, the entire place is just empty. Not even a chair for him to sit in. That would be so satisfying. But fine. I guess it's good that he has something to sit on. Obi says, I didn't have any trouble getting everything out. I settled things with the landlord. I also took pictures as evidence of how I left the place. I did let the landlord in his request for a quick inspection and to hand over the keys. Everything's in the storage unit except for my work documents that I shipped to my family's mailing address via a private courier since I'll be there for the holidays. I didn't feel comfortable leaving those at the storage unit or my hotel room. I hope I can find a co-working space, but I haven't found a spot that doesn't force me into a long-term contract, and I will be away until January. My best friend offered me her place to stay, but as much as I'm grateful, I really need to be alone. I'm planning on giving her an extra nice Xmas thank you gift because honestly, she's been my rock. I was able to cancel the utilities in my name and to take my name off other bills. He's already been deleted from all the subscriptions and passwords have been changed. I followed advice and canceled, requested new credit cards, changed banks, and kicked him out of the grocery accounts, pharmacy, etc. I did get a new mail address from a small business center from out of town. I'll be staying at a hotel for the time being until I go to see my family for the holidays, but I'm looking for a new place, preferably out of town, to avoid seeing him. Oh, I love this. A lot of times we kind of debate the questions in relationships of to stay, should I stay or should I go? But I love that OP took action pretty quickly. I mean, once she decided, you know what, I'm going to leave, she got help, her friend, the true MVP. Get you a true girlfriend who's going to help you pack everything up, check everything for you as you leave, move out with you, and remind you about canceling things and making sure you're in a good place and even offering a place for you to stay. Oh, but you have a real diamond of a friend. She's a forever friend.
Wait, quick interruption.
What?
So, as I've been listening to this, did I miss something? It seems like quite a
Halip?
quite a leap. Like,
Yes.
why? I mean, okay, so let's say if they wanted to break up,
Yeah.
is the thinking that there would be some issue with breaking up?
Yeah.
Okay. Like I guess what's the sign that I missed that would most likely be the case?
So a lot of times, I think some people, if they think the marriage is, or not marriage, what am I saying? So some people, if they think the breakup's gonna be really messy, because what ends up happening is depending on how your partner's character is or ex-partner, what if they start smashing your stuff? What if they start preventing you from leaving? That's why people are saying, oh, check your contraceptives because he might try to baby trap you.
I mean, I follow
Yeah.
all of that, but why? What's the sign? What's the indication of why that might be?
Opie just doesn't trust him.
Okay, so it's that much distrust that.
Yeah.
Wow.
I think that's
okay.
what it is. because it felt sudden to me too.
Came out of nowhere for me. I guess we're missing some information here, at least from what I've heard. Maybe I
Maybe
missed it myself.
maybe partner has a temper. It could be that partner has a temper. Like, I don't blame OP for doing what she did because I think this was the way to protect herself and ensure that she's like, this is a smooth, like clean cut. Because now they're not tied into anything. She's not legally liable. She made sure she got her stuff out in a safe manner. She has a friend with her. Because I've heard stories where man, woman, whomever, like sometimes breakups can be so messy, not just because there's drama involved, but your partner kind of, your ex partner tends to, some people don't react well, so to speak. I mean, based on how the husband reacted, whenever he hears anything from his family, he's like, you're selfish, you're disrespectful to my family, all that. He's never tried to defend her once. I wouldn't be surprised if he tries to kind of do something bad. Like, say, if she left something like valuable behind, he might try to sell it, steal it, break it. I, it's sad, but I don't trust that the partner is nice enough of a character to behave well, if that makes sense.
Okay.
So that's why I think it is. I'm glad though, because I think a lot of breakups also get messy because you don't detangle the finances. So I'm glad OP's kind of like, okay, well, I took his name off my credit cards. Like, I'm getting everything settled. Like, it just feels very efficient, which is very nice to see. A rare find, I think. OP continues. He didn't call me until 5 p.m. I didn't pick it up, but he kept blowing up my phone, so I texted him that we were done and to never call me again. He sent me voice messages. Many of them were so negative that I just didn't want to fully listen to them because it made me really anxious. He insisted that I should at least return the sofa, but it's mine. He offered to pay for it, but that's BS. I blocked him everywhere. So that's basically it. At least he didn't get home while I was moving. From all he said, I was mostly irritated by his insistence in twisting things to his favor. Saying things like he wanted us to get married, but I showed him who I am, made me want to call him and yell at him, but I didn't. I've blocked everyone and their mother, including Tim. I'm trying not to change my number for now because I run a small business and I don't want him to keep affecting me. I'm trying to get my mind off him because despite everything, he was someone that I loved and I'm still coming to terms with the feeling of being disposable, at least when it came to his family. I know that I need to work on myself and to at least understand why this happened, but right now my feelings are very hurt and I want to avoid nitpicking on the whys and the reasons because I feel used and I'm ashamed to admit it. Thanks again. Oh, I feel bad for OP. But see, this reaction seals the deal for me. Usually I'm not a fan of, I guess you can kind of argue this is kind of like ghosting your partner in a way, right? You're like she kind of like suddenly ghosted her partner until he called. But I would agree in this situation only because of the context, the unbearableness of the family. And even at breakup, you're telling me you found out that your partner walked out on you and broke up without basically giving you a heads up, took all her stuff, moved out, took you off all the financial stuff in a matter of a day. And you call because your problem is, why'd you take the sofa though? What about the sofa? I want the sofa. Give it back. I'll buy it off you. Like, really? Dude. And the fact that I hate it when people do this. Some partners or some ex-partners, I want to say, some people start dangling marriage. Like it was oh, you could have gotten this prize if only you weren't such an a-hole, or you would have gotten this if you waited more, if you did this, if you did that. I'm like, marriage is not some sort of dangly carrot at the end of the stick. It is a mutual agreement where I feel like both people have to be okay. Both people are happy to do it and they want to do it. I hate that he phrases it like, oh, well, I was going to give you marriage, but you showed me who you are. So that's off the table. Like, hello, she dumped you. Let's not try to make this a you dumped her situation. Come on. I'm satisfied with this ending. I'm very happy for you, OP, because I think in this case, you removed the trash from your life. You were very resolute. You put your foot down and you did what needed to be done. And I'm very happy for you. And you know what? You clear up space for more meaningful relationships in your life, like your friendship, because your girlfriend definitely has your back. So I love that for you. This kind of devolved a bit from the original question, but you are not the a-hole for not sharing your dinner with 2 kids. Forget the kids. They can eat something else. Your crab legs are yours and yours alone. I will always be team for the most part, unless there's any other context of a situation. I will always be team. Let the woman eat her dinner in peace. And if it's seafood boil, that's the holy grail. Don't you? No one should disturb her when she's eating seafood. Do you agree with my verdict?
Yeah.
Yeah? What are your thoughts on how OP handled the situation? I know you mentioned it was sudden before.
Yeah, but I think her update gave a little bit more context. So
And
I think she
who the
handled it
guy
pretty
is.
well.
Yeah. I don't know. Maybe I'm old school. Even if, say, a relationship was bad, right? I think normal reaction is you're gonna mourn it in some way because you invested time and energy on someone. And I feel bad that OP is still dealing with it. Even if she's the one who walked away and she's the one who I feel will benefit from walking away, she's the one who's kind of feeling bad about how it ended and why this happened. Like she's still thinking about it. Meanwhile, her ex is over here just trying to get a couch. I would feel so wronged in a way for spending all my time with someone and for them to just diminish our relationship to, hey, why'd you take the couch? That sucks. So, OP, I hope you take all the time you need to heal. And I hope during the holiday season, you're able to surround yourself with loved ones and really have a nice and cozy time. Now, those were our stories for today, guys. These were kind of two heavier hitting stories with full updates. I didn't want to leave you guys hanging. And if you enjoyed this, don't forget to like this episode and hit subscribe, guys. And if you're listening to me on Spotify, don't forget to give me 5 stars. I'll see you guys in the next one. And let me know in comments if you guys like stories with, I think I want to call it more heavy hitter with the full update. So let me know if you enjoyed that. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye, guys.